3,000 plus of them in Israel. I've never seen a group of that. And you know, I came back to America wanting to be like them. I didn't want to be Muslim. I didn't want to be Muslim. Right? I wanted to be a Hebrew Israelite. I wanted to be a Hebrew Israelite. And so I started studying their books. I started to hang around people who were Hebrew and 5% and whatnot. And you know, I started to read the autobiography of Malcolm X again. And I had a mentor, Olu Chaplin. He was my mentor at the church. He was a deacon at the church. He was a black nationalist. And I told him about my experiences in Israel. When I came back from Israel, I gave a talk to the church. You know, they wanted to hear about my journey to Palestine. And I told them about my journey and how I discovered that Jesus is not God. The whole church. Right? Like 2,000, 3,000 people. And they were very kind. They just listened, right, to this 16-year-old tell them that they're wrong about God. And but like I said, I wasn't Christian anymore. And if people asked me, "What's your religion?" at that time, I would just say, "I believe in one God and I follow Jesus." That's what I would tell people. I would say, "I believe in one God and I follow Jesus," but I'm not a Christian. I was kind of like a Salafi Christian, you know. I would say Jesus didn't call anybody Christian. All right, so I don't call myself Christian. Right. I'm not a Christian. I say I believe in one God. And the more and more I learned about the Hebrew Israelites, and the more I spent with like Jews, and you know, I did the same thing. I went to the American Jewish Committee and told them that Israel was racist, you know, for how they treated the Palestinians, you know, and that they were just, you know. But and I told my history professor, and he was like, "Wait a minute, you went to the American Jewish Committee and told them that that Israel was racist?" I said, "Yeah, it's the truth." And but I was young, you know, I did tax and all that stuff. They just paid for me to go to Israel, you know. But anyway, so the more and more I spent time with Jews, the more and more I found out that Hebrews, it just seemed, it occurred to me that their belief was very much centered on God and them as a people, God and them as a race. Their prayers, you know, Jehovah, God of Israel, and like I told you, I was going more towards like a Bob Marley kind of very open approach. I never wanted to be a Rastafarian, yeah, but that approach really called me. So that was too small for me. The Hebrew Israelites, the Jewish religion was too small for me. And a friend of mine from my high school, who I had not seen in a year, he dropped out. This guy dropped out. He was a junior, dropped out. No one knew where he was. Before he left, he was growing locks. Like we were all growing locks at that time, twists, dreadlocks. And Rodney, that was his name at that time, Rodney was gone. He disappeared. No one knew what happened to him. I went to Israel, came back, no one knew what happened to Rodney. January 93, February, Rodney shows up. My name's not Rodney, now it's Abdul Jabbar. Alright, what happened? I went to Atlanta. Right? I went to Atlanta. I became Muslim. The dreads were gone. Right? He had a nice haircut. The tie-dye shirts were gone. Right? The sagging jeans and the crisscross color, you know, all gone. He was dressed nice now. He had a kufi. He looked presentable. And, you know, like Muslim. He Muslim, you know. And Abdul Jabbar started to talk to me about Islam. He didn't talk to me about Tawheed. I was sold. He didn't have to tell me there's one God. I believe there's one God. He started to talk to me about Islam, about Prophet Muhammad, and he was very patient with me. We would argue. know about Islam, but we are Hebrews, we're Africans, we're black people. We have our own religion. We have our own. And he's like, no. Prophet Muhammad says he came to everybody. And he would walk. And I'm sharing this with you so you know what can make a difference in someone's life. He would walk all the way from his house to my mother's apartment, which driving was like 15, 20 minutes. He would walk to come talk to me. Every day, he would walk on his feet. He didn't have money for a bus. Right? And he would come and share Islam with me. He would come and share Islam with me. And, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X again. And this time, it really hit my heart. It really stuck with me. And Rodney, Abdul Jabbar was talking to me. I was listening to Louis Farrakhan a lot, right, from the Nation of Islam. The more and more I learned about, I was studying the Bible more and more and more and more. And the more I kept digging in the Bible, the less I saw Christianity. And the more I saw Islam. The more I looked into the Bible. And I didn't have any Ahmadiyya books or anything like that. Right? I was just doing my own study. I would study and pray. Study, pray. And I had a friend who was doing the same thing, Okira Robinson. And, we would talk about how, we were finding out that what Jesus ﷺ lived and what he taught was not what we were learning in church. So, one night, I'm just confused. I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to go. I'm learning about all these religions. Houston Smith's book, Seven, and I'm reading that. I got it from my uncle. I'm just searching.
That's the book that Harun Seller.
Oh, really?
That was the door for him into Islam.
For me too, yeah.
And he got to meet,
So I read the section on Islam and Buddhism and Hinduism in this book. And that night, I can remember, I think it's either after I read Houston Smith's book or the autobiography of Malcolm X. I just got on my knees. I said, I was by myself. I said, oh Allah, Jehovah, God, like all the names I said, just guide me. I don't know what way. I don't know what way to go, but whatever way you guide me to, I will follow. And it was one of the most sincere prayers I've ever prayed in my life. And in about a week or two, I was in high school, my physics class, reading a book about Islam that we bought by mistake years ago when I was in Nigeria. Because in Nigeria, you have Bible studies and you have Islamic studies. But they gave us a long list of books to buy for the school year. Islamic studies was on, so we bought the Islamic books, not knowing it was just for the Muslims. Right, so, but I kept the books. It's Allah's plan, right? We just kept the books. So we had these books about Islam. I picked it up because I was learning about Islam. I was open to it. So I was in high school and I was reading it when I should have been listening to my physics teacher. And something came into my heart, and something came into my heart and said, "You believe this? You believe?" And it was a basic book about belief in Allah, the prophets. It was about wudu and salah and hajj and I said to myself, I believe it. So at lunchtime, I got my friend, and I said, look, now I'm going to become Muslim. I said, really? Let me become Muslim? Because he was thinking about becoming Muslim. He never did. He joined the Nation of Islam, and now he's an Afrocentric today. Right? He's an Afrocentric. But, I said, I'm going to say the Shahadatain. So he said, okay. I said, I need a witness. Right? I don't know how I knew that, but, I don't know if someone told me or read it, but, said my shahadatain in front of him. I got home that night, I called Abdul Jabbar. I said, Abdul Jabbar, I became Muslim today. He said, really? He said, did you take your shahada? I said, yeah. He said, who did you say it in front of? I said, Okira. He said, okay, you need to say it again. So I said the shahada again for him over the phone, right? And alhamdulillah, and that's how I embraced Islam. And then he introduced me to Muhammad Sharif, the next week, who was a great scholar, and who I needed to be at that time of my life because of the background I was coming from, of the African culture, and so he really helped me see the story of Africans in Islam, and that's alhamdulillah. So the rest is history, and so Allah put me in His path.